World War II was itself a conspiracy. That, at least, was one of the charges that the top Nazis faced at the Nuremberg trials. Conspiracy to wage wars of aggression was also one of the charges leveled at Japan's leaders at the Tokyo War Crimes trial of 1946 to 48. The prosecution at Nuremberg charged the defendants on 4 counts: crimes against peace, crimes against humanity, war crimes or violations of the laws of war, and a common plan or conspiracy to commit the criminal acts outlined in the first 3 counts. The conspiracy extended to the propagandists who created the ideological basis for the war, the genocide of the Jews, and other crimes, and to the industrialists without whom it would not have been possible for Germany to wage war. However, the judges ultimately limited the last of these charges to conspiracy to wage an aggressive war. On this basis, only those who had attended key meetings planning the war in 1937 and 1939 were convicted. This was a refutation of the prosecution's contention that the conspiracy began with the founding of the Nazi Party in 1920. The judges instead ruled that it began with the creation of the so-called Hossbach Memorandum, a summary of a meeting in Berlin on the 5th of November 1937, named after Army Adjutant Colonel Friedrich Hossbach, who took the minutes. The memorandum records that, at the meeting, Adolf Hitler said he did not want war with Britain or France, but that he did favor a number of small wars of plunder to boost the struggling German economy. From the Nazi point of view, of course, the war was started by an international conspiracy of wealthy Jews seeking to dismember Germany. This can be discounted. The overwhelming majority of Jews murdered in the death camps were hardly wealthy. More than half the Jews who died in the Holocaust were from the Soviet Union. Hitler, meanwhile, had come to power in Germany using conspiracy, infiltrating Nazi sympathizers into the police and legal system. This gave his militia of stormtroopers, the Sturmabteilung, or SA, commonly known as the Brown Shirts, the freedom to openly commit acts of violence, intimidation, and even murder on the streets of Germany with little fear of prosecution, while those that opposed them were jailed. He consolidated his power by conspiracy, too. 4 weeks after Hitler was appointed Chancellor in January 1933, the Reichstag, Germany's parliament building, was burnt down. Hitler claimed that this was part of a communist conspiracy and immediately began to arrest known and suspected communists and closed down their offices, meeting places, and newspapers. The day after the fire, at Hitler's request, President Hindenburg signed the Reichstag Fire Decree that suspended most civil liberties in Germany, including habeas corpus, freedom of expression, freedom of the press, the right of free association and public assembly, and the secrecy of the post, telegraph, and telephone. Hitler's bodyguard, the Schutzstaffel, or SS, was given police powers for the protection of the people and the state. 25,000 SS officers took to the streets alongside the regular police force and rounded up political opponents. Soon the jails were filled to overflowing, and prisoners were herded into hastily constructed concentration camps. This was all done in the run-up to an election scheduled to take place less than 1 week after the Reichstag fire. In the ballot on the 5th of March 1933, the Nazi Party increased its share of the vote from 33% to 44%, and with the help of the small German National People's Party, was able to secure a parliamentary majority. The Nazis promptly passed an Enabling Act, giving Hitler's cabinet the authority to enact laws without Parliament's approval for 4 years. The act also removed presidential oversight. Over the next 3 months, all political parties other than the Nazis were banned.